to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Shall we play a game?
Your Skype call is being recorded. Your life is being recorded. There's nowhere you can run. There's nowhere you can hide. You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And happy belated birthday to me. Happy belated birthday to me.
Who gives a shit?
Fuck is my present?
Who gives a shit about your birthday? My birthday's in 9 days.
9 days? Oh.
8 days, yeah. Something like that. And I'm going to be fucking 30 years old. What the fuck is wrong with me?
There's nothing wrong with being 30. Jesus Christ. I hate it when fucking people act like it's like, oh, I turned 30 and I'm going to be an old man. Like, Jesus Christ. Talk to me when you're 38, 37. No, I'm 37, excuse me. Because, I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith, so he uses the number 37 a lot. Because in his first movie, his girlfriend, there's Dante and Randall in Clerks. She tells him that him and his girlfriend are having a conversation about how many people they've had sex with, and so then she sees some guy or whatever, and then they're all awkward, and he's like, "Why are you so awkward?" She goes, "Well, I sucked his dick," and he goes, "But he's not on the list of the 3 people you said you had sex with," and she goes, "Well, I don't count, sucking someone's dick as having sex with them." And he goes, "Well, wait, how many fucking dicks have you sucked?" And she had to sit there and think about it. And she goes, 37. He goes, 37? You've sucked 37 dicks? And so she walks out of the store because she's pissed off at him. And then he's like, and he tells the next customer that walks in the door, he goes, "My girlfriend sucked 37 dicks." And the guy goes, "In a row?" So 37 is I don't know, for some reason, being a fan of Kevin Smith, it's a special place in my...
Special.
It's a special. Which reminds me, okay, and I know we've had stuff that we're going to talk about, but I kind of like when we riff on stuff like this. Now, what I don't understand, and Paul, and I'm just totally coming off the cuff with this. Okay, here's the situation. Being a guy, there's a guy and a girl. The girl does something wrong, or the girl does something that, for all intents and purposes, any logical person would say, "What the fuck are you doing wrong?"
Right.
The guy gets mad, and rightfully so, because the girl did something wrong. Then the girl somehow flips it into making the guy the bad guy. Like if a guy gets mad and you get pissed off and you scream and you curse or whatever, now all of a sudden it's shifted to you being the bad guy for getting mad, and now we've totally forgotten why the whole situation got started in the first place.
Okay, so what are we talking about here?
Well, no, it's just like, obviously, I've had absolutely no luck with women, and I had a ex-wife that cheated on me. I got a baby mama that is for all intents and purposes not a grown up or someone who hasn't made good decisions in her life. And it's like, I've always thought I had like a good head on my shoulders. I always thought I was kind of a decent fucking guy. And when someone does something, and I'm trying to think of like a good example with and I'm not talking about anything like too recent, but I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so I mean,
stop being so vain, boy.
Yeah,
tell us what you want.
Well, no, okay. I'm trying to think of like a situation. Like, okay, now I'm a firm believer that if you're in a car with someone, for all intents and purposes, you should try to avoid being on a cell phone. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there's certain situations where you can't avoid. You know what I'm saying? Where that's the whole reason of having a cell phone. You're going to use it. But I think like if you're driving with somebody and they're driving you around, I think you should keep cell phone calls to a minimum. Because if not, being a guy and unfortunately, I've had too many women in my life that have treated me like, fucking I'm driving Miss Daisy over here. Where, like I feel like I'm a fucking car service. So
I get what you're saying, yeah.
My thing is that if I'm driving you around, and you're on your phone, it'd be one thing like, okay, if you're doing something for a friend or whatever. I mean, I'm talking more of like a romantic situation, but if you're doing something for a friend, but then again, what kind of friend, if you're there with your friend hanging out, you should not be on the fucking phone. I think it's rude. I think it's like I said, certain things are certain things you can't avoid. And also, let's just also preface this by saying that I also think that if you're in somebody's car, you shouldn't fall asleep. Or if you're going to fall asleep, you should excuse yourself and say, look, I'm feeling really tired. I'm going to go to sleep. Sometimes, like, if you're in a car or whatever and someone just falls asleep, I think that's fucking rude as hell. Because then it makes the person who's driving the car feel like a fucking taxi driver. You know what I'm saying? Like, then you obviously have no fucking consideration for me because one, if you were my friend, you'd be talking to me.
Right.
So I mean, I before this conversation skews off into a whole other, getting sad thing. Like I said, one, I mean, that's just, I feel is one way. And then, like, okay, so now let's just say you're driving and you're someone like me that takes this shit kind of like to heart, where I'm like, well, you shouldn't be on the fucking phone if I'm driving you somewhere. If I'm, especially, like if I'm driving you somewhere, it's not like we're going somewhere. I'm driving you somewhere and you're on the fucking phone. And then I get mad and I'm like, what the fuck? Listen, you should hang up the phone. And don't get me wrong, I'm probably addressing it the wrong way, but I'm like, what the fuck? I've already addressed the fact that I don't want to, when I'm driving you somewhere,
right,
you shouldn't be on the phone. And then like the girl will somehow turn it back around, like I'm the bad guy for doing something like being rude, because like if she'll get off the phone, like probably the first thing out of my mouth will be like, what the fuck, and then like now all of a sudden I'm the bad guy because I cursed.
Well, I think I know what you're saying. Like a previous relationship I was in, it wasn't anything recent, by the way. Basically, this relationship I was in, the girl, like let's say, like I said, 1 + 1 = 2. Mm-hmm. She would not only convince you that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, but also I'm an asshole, a jerk, and a piece of shit, and I should go to hell.
And you said this was a relationship?
This was a relationship. Like,
okay.
I understand what you're saying. Like, women seem to try to take things and turn it around on men, and it's kind of one of those things that I don't fucking like. I've experienced that myself. Again, this was in a relationship that it wasn't recent, but it's just like, just stop, okay? Mm-hmm. And you know what? Along with that, you know what I have to say is I hate fucking women that
I hate women.
Well, yes. I mean, I'm starting because it's really weird, dude. Like when I was in high school, man, I didn't date a lot of women, and it was because I had no fucking game. I will fucking completely sit here and tell you I have no game. But the older I've gotten, and I was talking to you about this tonight, the older I've gotten, it seems like more women are attracted to me. And I don't know what it is. I'm just who I am. I'm comfortable with who I am. I don't think about what I'm doing. I just do it and I go with it and see what happens,
I think it's just like the girls, like our female counterparts, are growing up and realizing that, that pretty boy, who just wants to have sex. Well, of course he just wants to have sex because that's all you offer him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, here's the thing. Like, what some girls don't understand, and this is the problem. This is why I hate some women, because they think that they can find something better. In their mind is better, but it's actually a downgrade. Mm-hmm. And what really pisses me off is they go, this guy comes up to them, whispers in their ear, gives them everything they want to hear, and gives them the attention that they're looking for. And to be fair, the guy that's actually in the relationship with the girl, he's not necessarily not paying attention to her, mm-hmm. but he's not paying attention to her in her mind the way that she wants to be paid attention to. Mm-hmm. And that happens with a lot of women. And it's something that, if women are listening to this podcast, you got to realize something. If you have a good guy that's taking care of you, that's willing to do something for you, me and Chris are like that. I will be down for you from day one. I will take care of you. I will be there for you. My family will be there for you. You get the whole shebang. I'm Italian. That's the way we fucking are, man. We fucking take care of our significant others. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So for me, like, I just don't want to, I want girls to wake up and understand that when you have a guy like me or you have a guy like Chris, I want you to not sit there and try to look around and find somebody different. See what you have. See what you have right in front of you, because it's just stupid on you trying to go and see what this other guy has, because in the long run, he's probably just going to use you.
Yeah.
And you're probably not going to have any money. He's probably just going to use you for sex. And at the end of the day, he's going to move on to the next bitch.
Well, that's why you, like, I bring up, like, you're talking about how, as you get older, you notice you have a lot more options, because I think girls at our age have been through that at least once, where they've been in a relationship with someone who obviously didn't want to be with them, or would rather be playing the field.
See, what I've kind of noticed is the younger. It's kind of weird because, like, what I'm starting to see, Chris, and this is something that's I know you're going to completely agree with me, because I think your ex-wife is, like, how old is she in comparison to you?
Well, no, she was only 4 years younger than me. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking that she was a lot more than that.
No, it was my baby mama. I'm 9 years apart from.
like a buddy of mine that lived across the street from me. His girl is like, I think it's a 7-year difference. My brother, well, I'm not gonna say. Well, his girlfriend's 21. He's 35, and they're about to get married. So, and for me, like, the last girl I was with, she was 20. I'm 29. I've been noticing that, like, a lot more younger women appreciate older men. And maybe this isn't a new concept, and I'm just learning this now, but it seems like a lot of younger women want to actually be in a relationship with a guy and actually want to work towards it. Whereas these girls that are, like, closer to our age, like me, I'm about to be 30. You're 35?
No, I just had a 20-minute fucking conversation about how I just turned 37.
Okay, you are 37.
Pay attention up.
Give you a compliment. I was trying to give you a compliment. Okay. But, like, I'm starting to see that, it seems like for us, like, the younger the woman, the more we're going to get more attention, and we're going to actually get somebody that wants to be with us. Whereas most girls our age, are just like, they're coming out of these early marriages that they were in, and they're just so fucked up that they don't want to have anything to do with people. I'll give you an example. Like, I'm talking to this girl right now who is, like, she hasn't dated for a year. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna give her name out. I'm not gonna say anything, but it seems like this girl actually is ready for a relationship, and she's only like 4 years younger than me. And it's just like, okay, so you're 4 years younger than me. You seem like a woman that's actually interesting, and you actually have a good personality. Because for me, and I don't know about you, dude, like, I don't fucking like a woman that has no personality. No fucking personality.
Yeah, we kind of spoke about that last episode.
Dude, like, I cannot fucking tell you about the personality of this one chick that I met once, and I never met. I was done with her after that, because, like, I was just sitting there going, okay, you don't really have a personality. You're not fun. I understand you're shy, and I understand that you're a smart ass. But if you're not fun, if it doesn't feel like you're enjoying life, then I don't want you around me. And I know that might sound fucked up to some people, but I don't want somebody that's always like, that's just like, yeah, my life's good. Yeah, we should definitely go out. Yeah. Dude, you know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever met a like that, man? Like,
all the time. I have. Well,
oh my god. Oh, and dude, if you don't, I've said this on so many fucking of these podcasts. If you don't want to date, don't fucking get in a good conversation with me, and then stop talking to me when we're gonna go out on a date.
How about don't be on a site? Don't be on a date site.
Yeah, don't be on a date. And I've said that too. Don't be on the fucking site. And by the way, don't be on a fucking dating site if all you want is friends.
Yeah, and I've seen that in profiles.
Because guess what? I don't want your fucking boyfriend showing up at my house at 2 o'clock in the morning trying to beat my ass when I'm sitting there going, and you are? I mean, I haven't had that happen yet, thank God. But it's just like, I've seen these profiles, dude, and you've seen them on POF, man. POF is just so bad. I hate that fucking site sometimes. Like, they'll sit there and they'll have this great profile, and then it says, oh, I just want to be friends. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Is there something going on that I don't know about? I mean,
because she chose the wrong asshole who isn't paying attention to her, and because he's all pretty or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And we're gonna get back together at some point. Blah blah blah. And he's over there fucking like 20 different chicks.
Yeah.
Look. Listen, women, you need to understand something. When you meet a good guy, don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. Because if you fuck it up, you may not have a chance to come back. And I gotta tell you something right now. My man Chris here, I can guarantee you right now that this man right here would be down to take care of you in a second, all right?
Mhm.
My 37-year-old brother will take care of you. Me, I'm Italian. I have an Italian family, man. You will have everything you want possibly in life. But if you want to downgrade and go to some other fucking piece of shit, go. If you want a guy, look, here's the bottom line, okay? If you want to be with a guy and he is treating you incredibly and you're happy with him, don't fuck it up and go date some other guy, okay? Don't take what you have that's good and keep it, because you know what? You may not have a second chance at it.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line, you know? Like, and don't, I don't know, dude, like, I've had so many chicks that just, you message them and they say hi back and then they don't message you after that. Look, if you're not interested, simple message. Hey, sorry, I'm not interested, but I wish you some luck. I've had a girl do that to me once, way back before I was dating my ex. Said to me, hey, sorry, but I'm not really interested, but I wish you some luck. And I responded back, I was like, well, I think you're, I don't really agree with, you thinking that I'm not a good match, but I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, at least there's some honesty, because it reminds me of another story. I have two stories lined up for you. My adventures in dating websites. Okay, so
wait, let me get my popcorn. Okay, I got popcorn. Let's go.
Okay, so like when you talked about like people with like no personality or whatever, and then also kind of
God.
I don't think it's gonna work, because actually this was one of the few times where I said it's not gonna work. So I go to see I'm looking at the site or whatever, and one of the other sites that I'm on is OkCupid. That's and what it does is that it lets, unless you have like the paid profile, if you just look at somebody's profile, it lets them know that you were looking at their profile.
Right.
So now she had so I had looked at her profile or whatever. Now I guess what at first would, in my opinion, be a good sign, she sends me a message and she goes, hey, what's up, whatever. Like, oh, hey, it's like I was gonna write you, I'm glad you wrote me first, just trying, I was like, I even kind of put like, that's really cool of you that, because nowadays women don't really make the first move. So then she goes, and like I should have fucking, she was like, well, if you were gonna write to me, why didn't you write to me? Then and it like fucking 2 seconds it turns into like this, it already turns like oppositional. She's like, if you like someone or whatever, you should let them know, and then she puts be a man. I'm like, whoa, bitch, you don't fucking know me from Adam, and you
wow,
yeah, and so
I have never had anything like that. Wow.
Yeah, and so she's like,
wow.
Why couldn't you write if you thought, if you saw my picture and liked what you saw, then why didn't? And I'm like, well, one, it's not like I'm Mr. Mac Daddy player where and plus, I like. At the time when I'm looking at profiles, I'm not ready to send out a message at that particular time.
Right.
I could be having, some downtime at work or whatever the case may be. I could be, on the line at fucking Walmart, where I'm just kind of just browsing.
Right.
And so unfortunately it lets them know that I've seen their profile. And then she took it to this whole other level, like, well, why don't you be a man and write me a message or whatever. So
I would have, what I would have wrote back, dude? I would have been like, bitch, what the fuck is your problem?
Yeah, and dude, so what happens is, so we keep, so I said, you know what, and I said, look, I said, give me a break, and I said, I'm a little shy, this and this, and it's funny, I could go on a podcast and talk all types of crazy nonsense or whatever, but when it comes to actually like talking to women, I do oddly get shy, and so then I said, so then I'm trying to, keep, and mind you, I'm trying to keep the conversation light and airy and everything like that, and so then I go, so what is there to do in Rochester? I said, because I've lived here for about 4 years. And, I don't really know what's there to do besides drinking because, I don't drink. So, what is there to do that's fun that doesn't involve drinking?
Right.
And then she's like, oh, well, if you don't drink, then being in Rochester sucks because all we do up here is drink and we kill each other when we get drunk. And she kind of like sent like this long like tirade. And you know, and then also, I mean, not for nothing, and I think I've mentioned this before in other episodes, where like if you can't take a picture smiling, also, you know what I'm saying, and then trust me, I'm very down to earth. I try to understand people. I try to understand where people are coming from. But
Right.
you're telling me that, and especially like your main profile pic, you know, you can't find one good picture of you, or I mean, and nowadays where you have cell phones that, you know, you got these women that post 50,000 selfies in a row, you can't find 4 decent pictures of yourself, you know what I'm saying? Or for the love of God, you know, at least smile, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you're here trying to attract people, you know?
Or my favorite is these girls will take these pictures and you think they're the hottest thing in the whole universe. You show up to the date and you're just like, what the fuck is this?
and don't be wrong.
I don't know
I
if
mean,
you've ever had that, but Jesus Christ.
I've had that. I've had dates like that before the internet was like like a big thing. Like, you know, I've had,
Right.
because back in my day when I was in high school, the thing was CB radios. You would talk to girls on the CB radio. Or, you know, back in the day, party lines. You would call the party line.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how far back. That's I told you.
Damn, you are a fucking old man. Holy shit.
You know, CB radios, or even back in the day of like the early internet, like AOL chat rooms and stuff like that. You know.
Oh, I mean, that's what. Yeah, we used to do that. That's
and
when AOL was free. Oh my God, I remember that shit.
Yeah,
you used to be able to go to
in the
fucking
mail.
Yeah, you'd be able to go to Walmart, get $100 for free. Fuck yeah, give me that shit. Fuck yeah.
And so what had happened was so then I just said with that particular girl, I said I'm not really getting a great vibe from this conversation, so I'm gonna, you know, I wish you the best of luck, but you know, I don't think it's gonna work out between us or whatever. And then she's like, oh, all right, whatever, you know, like she sends me like, oh, whatever text, which is, you know, like when, oh, and it, you know, that's infuriates me more, like when people, like when they try to be dismissive, you know, oh, whatever. So I was like, oh, fuck you. All right. So, and this is, yeah, and I could tell the story now because I mean, it's pretty much dead and buried. Okay. So there was a girl I was talking to, and I slightly kind of mentioned it last episode. And, you know, and once again, okay. And how this story ends, and I guess the moral of this story, and I haven't even started telling it, and kind of like the other story that I just finished telling, where it's like
3 strikes you're out, basically.
Yeah, well, it's 3 strikes out, but it's also like I could see why you're single. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I sit here and I'm all sad sack, depressed, nerdy asshole, or whatever. But you know, at least like I think that when I'm trying to talk to these girls, I try to be very airy. I try to be very light and sweet and decent and whatever. And apparently that doesn't work. But okay, so all right, so I'm talking to this girl, and you know, and I mean, I could give out a million details. She's not like anyone's gonna fucking figure out who she is, but you know, she seems decent. You know, she was on her way to get like her master's degree in college, and you know, and of course, you know, I mean, look, I'm no fucking Prince Charming, you know, she's a little heavy, a little chubby or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so apparently it's like, you know, a lot of her life involves her family, who they live.
There's no problem with that. There's no problem with that.
Oh, yeah, no, well, I mean, there's no problem with it,
right,
except when it starts interfering with your social life. You know?
Right, right. I agree with that. Yep.
You know, it's okay. Family is very important, but it shouldn't be entirely everything, you know?
Right.
So, all right. So we start, you know, and so and once again, I mean, you know, on OkCupid, you know, she texted me, you know, she sent me a message. So we're going back and forth. And so when we, as, you know, and of course, you know, I kind of, you know, it takes balls to fucking ask someone out on a date, you know, cause you're kind of like, okay, let's progress beyond this fucking back and forth, you know, messaging shit, and let's meet each other in person. And she's like, oh, well, you know, I'm going on a trip with my family. And it was a week-long trip. So during that week, you know, I mean, we're going back and forth or whatever, and she's like with her family in the car and they're driving far. Okay, so, you know, we're going back and forth with the text messages, and like, you know, she's like, oh, you know, we're in the car right now. And, you know, I guess like her and her family were taking turns because it was like a 17-hour drive and yada, yada, yada. So I go, look, you know, I'm off on Monday, and she was coming back from her trip on Sunday. And so, and I kind of anticipated, I said, you know, I said, you know, asking her out on a date, and then, you know, she just came back from like a week's vacation with her family. I don't think she wants to go out and socialize, but I said, you know, fuck it. I'll take the initiative. So I ask her
Right.
out on a date, and she goes, well, I am coming back from my trip, and it'll be my first day home, and I'll probably be tired because like she comes home Sunday night to go to work Monday morning. So okay, that's all fine and dandy. So then her and I are chatting on Monday, and she's like, "Oh, I'm going to my niece's soccer game or softball game or whatever the case may be." So you're too tired to go on a date, but you could go to your niece's sporting event,
Right.
40 minutes away. You know what I'm saying? Like, it takes effort to drive 40 minutes. It really does, because it's like, it's, you have to pay attention to the road and this and that. Then you have to go, be a supportive aunt, and then. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not a lot of effort, but I mean, it's. I think it's.
I mean, like an hour is not a lot of effort to me, but like if we're talking about 2 or 3 hours, then yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, 40 minutes going, 40 minutes coming back, and
Right.
and here I am asking you on a date to a coffee shop in your neighborhood, which was, and mind you, I purposely chose. I mean, I don't know exactly where she lived, but she kind of told me the neighborhood, so I found a local coffee shop in her neighborhood. So okay, so that was strike one, like you said, 3 strikes you're out. So then we go, and so I asked her, I said, look, okay, I'm off on Thursday. So we, Thursday comes and goes, and she didn't say yes, but then she's like, oh, I forgot, my other niece has a soccer game or whatever.
Right.
So I'm like, all right.
Strike two.
I said, because, I understand your nieces are very important in your life, but can't you tell your niece, well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make it to this game because, I'm trying to hook up with some, I'm trying to get some fucking meat over here, meat between my legs. I mean, saying, don't you want an uncle? So that happens, or doesn't happen, excuse me. So then I go, okay, enough's enough. I'm asking you out on a date, and I didn't say it for the third time, but in my head, I'm like, this is the third and last time I'm asking you on a date. So this was 2 Sundays ago. So not this past Sunday, which passed, the Sunday before that. Now up here in Rochester, it was gray, it was nasty, and she goes, okay, we could go out on a date on Sunday. And I said, okay, and we told each other our plans, and she was like, all right, great, I'll be home around 7.
Right.
From she goes, oh, both of my nieces have softball games. There's a doubleheader that day. So I'm like, okay, so you'll get home at 7. Let's arrange the date for 8. So you could come home, take a shower, do whatever you got to do, and I'll meet you at 8. So that particular Sunday, it was snowy, not snowy, excuse me. It's fucking June. It was gray and nasty and everything like that. So I sent her a text, and I was like, oh, is your niece playing in this nasty, gray day? And she goes, no, they canceled the game. Because I was worried that, with her coming back from a, long day doubleheader or whatever, I was kind of like, she may cancel the date because she may be tired, she may be, dirty, whatever, women find any reason or whatever. So I said, now mind you, the conversation was just about this, the gray weather or whatever. So in my mind, I mean, of course, it was kind of my fault for assuming a little bit. I was like, okay, great. She'll probably be home even earlier and she'll be more ready, prepared for the date. So, I was working that evening, or working that up until 6 that night. So, I come home, take a shower, being a guy getting ready for a date, you scrub the balls, not that my balls are planning.
Dude, too much information.
Not that my balls are planning to make an appearance, but just in case, you never know how a first date may go. Making sure that, everything is clean and showered and powdered and perfumed and just in case, you happen to have to drop your pants that night.
Oh my God.
So things went a little longer than I expected. So I'm literally I'm walking out the door and I'm doing the math, and I'm like, look, for me to get her by the time I leave here, it's going to, and so I sent her a text. I'm like, look, I'm going to be about 10 minutes late and I'm really sorry. And of course, don't get me wrong, it is bad form to be late on a first date. That sends a bad message, and that's bad on my half. So
right. No. You're doing the right thing though, because that's what I usually do. I'm gonna be like, hey, I might be a little bit late, just so you know. Oh, okay. Whatever.
And and it's fine. And I trust me, I've been on several fucking first dates or whatever where the person shows up super fucking late or whatever the case may be, and they always give you an bullshit excuse or whatever. So then, and she goes, oh, I'm still with my family 45 minutes south. of the city. And I'm like,
oh my God.
And I'm like, I just fucking spent like the past hour and a half getting myself ready for this date or whatever, and shaving and all this other nonsense. I got myself all prepped, and she goes, oh, well, you didn't mention this date earlier. So I thought you weren't going to show up, because she says, oh, I've had bad experiences in the past where guys didn't show up for the date, and then my thing was like, why would I have made the date? You know what I'm saying? And, also, if you have these lingering doubts, it takes 2 seconds, because at this particular point, I mean, we were just going back and forth with text messages. The beauty and the curse of this new modern day and age is you go back and forth with technology. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to necessarily make a phone call. So, had you had any doubts, you should have said, just confirming, or whatever, ours, just, confirming RSVP for later on tonight or something. The reason I didn't bring it up, because I assumed that, when I said I was going to be somewhere, I was going to fucking be there. You know what I'm saying? When you said you're going to be somewhere, I was expecting you to be there. So, that being said, I just stopped texting her. I was just, that's it. I'm done. 3 strikes, you're out, and actually she did send me a text on Father's Day, 2-3 days ago, on Father's Day. Happy Father's Day, Chris. And I just wrote back, thank you, just to be courteous. But, that fucking, that's a bad first impression, because see, I would have gotten, now, okay, fine. I let that shit slide now. Okay, or whatever, she's insecure. But, like 5 months down the line, right, I say I want to do something, and then she just automatically assumes something else, whatever. And then I get mad, because shit like that pisses me off. Why would you say you're going to do something and then not do it? And 5 months down the line or whatever, I would have been pissed off, saying that, then I would have been the bad guy. I don't know, what the fuck, I said, we're going to go, you're going to go. What the, we got some fucking issue, you got some fucking insecurities, whatever. And all of a sudden, yes, am I being mean? Yeah, but I also think I'm being justified. The girl would kind of like try to flip it on me like I'm being the scumbag asshole, so.
Well, see, here's like, I mean, we've kind of talked about this in the past. Like, basically, for you to get a girl, you basically have to be, there's 2 things you have to do. A, you have to have attractive pictures up, and B, you have to be honest. Okay? Mm-hmm. If you look at my profile, it's completely honest. I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. Mm-hmm. I'm upfront, I'm honest, and I'm straight to the point. Period. Because you know what? I don't really give a shit what people think sometimes. I don't really care. You could sit there and call me a piece of shit to my face, and I'll be like, okay, what are we, in high school? Like, I don't give a shit, like, what some of these people say. But, I've had your kind of, your wonderful experiences. I remember the beginning of 2013 in January, I met this girl, and I actually put up on Facebook that we're talking, this is turning into dating nightmares. Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny because I met this girl, great mother. I will never say anything bad about her being a bad mother or anything. She was a great mother. I'm not going to say any names. She kissed me first. Mm-hmm. Okay, she kissed me first. It was one of the more attractive girls I've actually dated, and I was kind of proud of myself. I was like, yeah, this motherfucker right here has got a hot girl, yeah. So all of a sudden it starts to go south. Like, she all of a sudden starts to get, like, a little bit distant and stuff, and I'm like, okay, what's really going on here? Mm-hmm. Like, you seem to be getting distant with me, because you know me, Chris. After a while, when I start sensing something, that's when I just, I snap into gear, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on? Okay? Mm-hmm. And, she started blah, 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 and I'm just like, yeah, but you're the one that kissed me first. She basically when I met her, she didn't know what she wanted in a relationship. But again, she's the one that kissed me first. Mm-hmm. And she was the one initiating. And then I began to initiate back because, I'm the kind of person, I want to see what the girl wants to do first. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want to, if it's going to turn into a friend situation, then I need to see that first, Mm-hmm. I need to see how the girl is towards me. And, it ended up, she all of a sudden was just like, it just turned out to be like something had happened, like she met somebody different, or mm-hmm. She talked a lot about her ex-husband, and I would just sit there and go, okay. Like, she would get gifts for him on his birthday. I don't know about you, but do you get your ex-wife gifts on her birthday?
No.
Exactly. So that was kind of weird in itself, and I'm just like, okay.
The gift of a fucking brick.
So
through
I
the
mean,
windows.
so it wasn't anything. This wasn't any loss to me whatsoever. But she said the one line, Chris, that I will never ever forget, and I will continue to use. I will continue to tell people this story until I die. I said to her, I was like, "Well, you're the one that initiated this whole thing. You're the one that started to make it clear that you were attracted to me and like you wanted to continue with this. Maybe you should think about what you're doing here." And she said, "Oh, sometimes a kiss is just a kiss."
Oh yeah.
And at that point, dude, I turned and I messaged her and I said, "Look, from now we can be friends, but as far as me and you being in a relationship, I'm good. It's up to you now if you want to be friends with me or not." And that was the last conversation we had. Dude, I do not tolerate that bullshit, man. Like, It's coming back to what we were saying, man. What do you want? Do you want a relationship or do you just want to be friends? Okay?
Yeah.
Do you want a relationship or do you want to be just friends? Because it's either one or the other. Don't fucking try to sit there and try to fuck around with me. It's either dating or it's you just want to be friends. And by the way, if you want to be just friends with people, with guys on these dating sites, doesn't matter if it's POF or not, don't be on those sites because it's a waste of my fucking time. I'm not on that site to get another fucking friend. If I wanted a female friend, I could go get the fat person around the corner. I'm sorry, that's kind of fucked up to say, but
But it's, like let me tell you, dude. I mean, okay, fine. I mean, I think it's safe to assume that we're friends now. I mean, I know the name of the show is Two Strangers One Podcast, even though we don't generally like hang out. But like I think I have enough friends. You know what I'm saying? Like even though I live in Rochester and I don't really socialize with people too much in Rochester, and I need more. I should spend more time outside of my house. Right. But I'm in like with like Facebook and work and sleeping and my daughter. And like I have enough friends.
Exactly.
I've never left my house with the intention of I'm going to go out and make a friend today. You know what I'm saying? Like I have enough people in my life where don't get me wrong. Do friends happen? Do you hang out with you and your coworkers decide to hang out or whatever and you have a good time and things kind of get a little more cool and calm and collected and chill and that's great. I don't understand the concept of I'm gonna go out and make a friend. Like friends happen. You know what I'm saying? I guess like the same way romance happens, but there are no I'm on a dating site to date. I'm not
Yeah.
If it was called plentyofriends.com,
well,
plenty of fish.
Okay. Like there's like there's like a difference between like, for example, I became friends with a girl that I actually met on POF because, we're kind of in the same kind of boat about what just happened. It's not the same kind of thing, but, I don't think she really knows what she wants right now. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. I get that. And she's really awesome. So I'm just like, okay, you know what? I don't have as many friends that are girls anymore, so I might as well pick up another friend that's a girl. What the hell? And if she wasn't, if we really didn't like vibe, I really wouldn't have, picked her up as a friend. But, we really do kind of get along and, that's one thing, but it's another if, like I said, if you start to get into what seems to be a relationship, and then all of a sudden, I just want to be friends.
Yeah,
No. Don't ever lead a guy on. This is the lesson I need to teach you girls. Do not ever lead a fucking guy on. If you want to be in a relationship with him, be in a relationship with him. Don't fucking sit here and lead the guy on. Be in a fucking relationship. I don't need to say this anymore. Like, don't lead the guy on, because guess what? You lead the guy on, one of these times, the guy that you're with is going to beat the shit out of you. Jeez. And then, you're going to be in some fucking trouble. I'm not saying like me or you, Chris. I'm like saying like you go into a different relationship thinking, oh, well, this guy's hotter. I can, this is really going to turn out good for me. And then all of a sudden, you have no money. You have no fucking, you don't have a pot to piss in, like my fucking parents say all the time.
Yeah, and you're going to get a guy that doesn't understand the fact that you friend zoned him and and he may get
and you know what my favorite is? My ultimate favorite is when people ask you if you're dating this guy and they say no. You say no. Don't do that. The guy's going to find out. He's going to fucking be like, peace, deuces, I'm out of here, and go on to the next girl. Because it's you women out there need to understand, okay? Men are simple, okay? And here's a key point. This is and then we'll move on. But here's a really good key point. And I think you agree with me, Chris, because we were actually talking about this tonight. If a guy doesn't want to sleep with you at first, that's a good thing. Because that means I'm attracted to you, but I'm even more attracted to your personality. The last girl I dated, all of you know Kelsey, because she's been on this podcast. I didn't want to have sex with her at first. And it wasn't because I wasn't attracted to her. It was the fact that, you know, the conversation that we had was deep. We seemed to vibe really well, and I wanted to get to know her as a person. I felt a connection with this person. So I didn't want to just have sex with this woman and ruin it. I wanted to get to know this person. And actually, you know, when we got to that point, it would actually be even better. It would be 10 times better. And it was because I took that step. That's why, you know, that's why I say these girls, you have to, if you girls are out there saying, like, talking about your sex life, obviously the guy's going to think he's going to get laid on the first date. Think of, if you really want a relationship and you really want to be with somebody, form that connection, form that bond with that person. Because right there, if a guy, I'm being honest here, Chris. If a guy doesn't want to have sex with you at first and would say to you, hey, look, I don't want to do that on the first date. I want to get to know you better. That's a good thing. That is a good fucking thing, because you know what that means? That means that guy is actually really interested in you, and you guys are probably actually going to be in a long relationship, you know? And I just want to say, look, just to conclude everything, when you meet a good guy, and you meet somebody that actually takes care of you and is there for you, don't fuck it up. Shit happens in life, and yeah, there are things that happen where you can't, it's out of your control. And, you know, unfortunately, it's been proven in studies that, you know, if something happens, sometimes, you know, we flip out. You know, guys do it too. We flip out, we lose our minds, and we push everybody away. But at the end of the day, if you have somebody that completely and utterly loves you and will do absolutely anything for you, don't let them go. Because at the end of the day, that's the person you want to marry and be with for the rest of your life. That's just a little piece of advice from me to you people out there. You know, if you find that right person, keep them around. Don't fucking push them away. Don't play them, and don't lead them on, please. Don't do that, please. Okay? Because and I didn't mean that whole beat the shit out of something as being, you know, fucked up or anything, but it happens a lot. It's an unfortunate thing in our society, dude. Like, these guys get their hopes up. They're like, yeah, you know, whatever. Me or you are not like that, but you know, there's these fucked up guys. You think they're really good guys. And then the girl goes, oh, well, I'm not going to fuck you. And then they get fucking beat the shit out of nowhere. It's terrible. But unfortunately, you know, it is what it is. So, I don't know. All right. That's just a little piece of advice from me, guys.
And I think with that, we're going to be back after our break with more dick and fart jokes.
And nothing serious.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. Pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com.
And now for listeners of Two Strangers, One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. Okay, let's see. Let's get into some nerdy stuff. Okay. Well, damn. Well, okay. How was your Father's Day? I guess that's not really nerdy, but that was. Also
I mean, my Father's Day was good because I had actually the weekend. I had Saturday off, and I didn't have to work till night on Sunday, so I had Logan with me, and we went out and saw Rio 2. And I'm still confused because all the movie theaters have switched over to digital, but apparently Movies 10 still has 35 millimeter.
Oh, okay, yeah. Movies 10 is a theater.
That's
here
the dollar
Rochester,
theater, yeah.
Which is it still the dollar theater or is it $2?
Well, I mean, there are days where it's $1, but yeah, it's basically $2. But it baffles me because I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this 35 millimeter print because obviously I've said in the past that I've worked at movie theaters and I've put movies together, and I'm just sitting there going, so wait a minute. 35 millimeter was supposed to be gone, and it's not supposed to be around anymore because it was done. When it hit 2004, it was done.
Yeah.
Why am I seeing a 35 millimeter print? I'm sitting there going, I don't understand.
Well, I think, in like more behind the times, parts of our country, and then I would also think like maybe like overseas or something like that. I'm pretty sure, they haven't caught up with the wave of, technology or whatever. And it's, it's like my thing is like, how is a movie like Rio 2 even put out in 35 millimeter? You know what I'm saying? Like you would think like, what? That's like, I don't know, installing like a 1980s cell phone on like, a 2014, Ferrari, just doesn't make sense. It just, how does the past and the present meet at such? Because like a movie like that, even I wasn't a big fan of the first one. I'm pretty sure it looks gorgeous, incredible animation, and and you're just destroying it by putting it on fucking 35 millimeter.
Right. Well, it's not so much like it's 35 millimeter. It's the fact that everything's supposed to be digital, but yet I'm watching a print that has a line down the middle of it. And I'm just sitting there going, haven't we gotten past this already? Because here's the thing, and I'll make this quick because we have a lot of things to talk about nerdy-wise, but one of the things that I like about, there's a lot of things I like about the fact that it's digital, and that's, one, there's not going to be lines down the middle of the movie. Number two, if somebody fucks up a print, there won't be marks because obviously it's digital. And number three, there won't be something that's called a brain wrap. And for those of you that are probably sitting there asking, what the fuck is a brain wrap? A brain wrap is what happens when friction and film come together, and all of a sudden the movie just stops going through the little spindle thing that it's going through to go into the projector and starts just twisting around what's called the brain of the thing, and yeah, it comes off the spindle and it goes into the projector and it comes back to the platter system. Basically there's a platter system and there's a 35 millimeter projector. I know some of you are sitting there going, kill me please, Paul, kill me, because I'm talking about this shit. But anyways, like, so there's a platter system where the print goes into the projector, and then it goes back to the platter system on a different, I guess... Reel? Not a reel, but like a different... Because there's 3 platters, it goes to a different platter. Okay. So basically what happens is when it goes to a different platter, or when it goes from the first one, we put what's called a brain in, basically. And you thread it through that brain, and then it goes up and goes into the projector. Well, what happens sometimes is friction gets in there. You know how friction is. Friction can sometimes cause things to stop, and friction would sometimes do what's called a brain wrap, and it would the film would wrap around the brain, and it would actually cause it to either rise up, and you'd walk in and be like, holy fuck, or it would just wrap around the thing, and all of a sudden you'd see this burn mark on the screen. So, it's good not to have that back, but it's just interesting when you go into like the dollar theater and you're just like, you're supposed to be gone. Like, I don't mean that to be like a dick or anything, like, but
it's like the land at time forgotten shit.
Oh God. But anyways, so yeah, I mean, it was a good Father's Day. I really had fun. It was really good,
Yeah, Yeah, and just like, I mean, as we're recording this, like as soon as we finish recording, I'm gonna go get some rest because I'm going to family court tomorrow or should I say later on today, to get custody of my daughter. Because unfortunately I didn't spend Father's Day with my daughter, and I'm not trying to be depressing or whatever. I'm just, I'm working on getting my shit together so I can fucking get my daughter back. Whatchamacallit?
Which, by the way, that's a good thing, by the way.
Oh yeah, definitely holding it down. Casey Kasem, radio announcer. I mean, I guess most people know him as Casey Kasem, America's Top 40.
They also know him as,
and I think his biggest role that kind of like, I don't know if people realize that he was also the voice of, was Shaggy from Scooby Doo. Whatchamacallit? He was. I mean, it's funny because I'm like, I mentioned this before the show. I was like, I goofed and I thought he did the voice of Bumblebee from the Transformers, and I was wrong. He was the voice of Cliffjumper. He's done voices on the G-Force cartoon, that Japanese anime that kind of like got, brought over to the United States and, revoiced or whatever. He was the voice of Robin from I want to say the late 70s, early 80s cartoon of Batman and Robin, and all the, like, around the time where, when it was like the Super Friends and like the crossover episodes where like Batman and Robin met Scooby-Doo, that era of cartoons, he was the voice of Robin. So I mean, the guy was, growing up, seeing Scooby-Doo Saturday mornings, watching Transformers every day after school. I mean, G-Force, even though I was aware of G-Force and I watched it, it wasn't as, and it's funny because like when you watch, bring up a show that I love talking about, Megas XLR, when they kind of goofed on the G-Force and they called it the S-Force, there's a character which is blatantly doing a Casey Kasem style of talking, because, that particular character was always very like, okay, everybody, we must jump into our mechs or whatever. So, Casey Kasem, and it's horrible. Like towards the end, he was like suffering from like dementia, and apparently like his own wife like basically like took him from like the old age home that he was staying in and brought him like, a couple 100 miles up the coast of the West Coast, and like people thought he was missing, and because I mean it was obviously she, because back in the 80s, I mean in the 80s she was real hot. And, it was one of those deals where it was like, obviously she was with him for the money. And, so it was just real sad to like, in his last days, that he's like wandering around, not knowing what's going on, like basically being kidnapped by his own wife, which I guess like, I don't know how legally I don't know if it's not, it's not legally kidnapping or whatever, but, if she has the power of attorney or whatever, like he just had like, unfortunately his last few months on this planet were pretty fucked up,
Yeah.
He had an incredible life, an incredible career, I mean, generations of people listen to him on the radio and America's Top 40. I mean, that's, one of those shows where like, back in the day before we had internet and stuff like that. I mean, when they talk about like syndication.
Shit, before we had podcasts, fuck.
Yeah, way before podcasts, it's like he was one of the guys, luckily enough at the time, where he was heard pretty much throughout the country when that was not really a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like every, radio stations always have the local guys, but like, America's Top 40 was such a fucking gigantic monster that, millions of people heard his voice and looked forward to hearing his voice. And, I mean, he did have a very, very distinctive voice. And, I guess, we send our, our regards and love for a guy that, was had a good career. And I guess he seemed to be a good guy, because nowadays, whatever, if there was dirt about him, we would have heard about it by now. You know what I'm saying? Like, he never kicked a dog or,
right.
He wasn't a commie, red communist or something, he never tried to subvert the government or anything like that. He's just a guy with a interesting voice, had an incredible career, and unfortunately he's gone. So, but I mean, you're just like with the nerdy stuff, Scooby-Doo and Cliffjumper on Transformers and stuff like that. Now, we were having this little conversation with Sketch a little earlier from your other show. It's an Unfaithful Podcast. and Sketch was on, and I didn't realize, because I said, that he did the voice of Cliff Jumper, and then Sketch had mentioned that Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, was the voice of Cliff Jumper for like 2 episodes of Transformers Prime, and then you brought up the clip, and of course, I was like, holy shit, I mean,
Yeah, it's definitely The Rock. Like, I didn't even realize that, because I did see like the first 2 or 3 episodes of Transformers Prime when it first came out, and I never realized, because that's the Transformer that dies, but I never realized it was The Rock, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, that's awesome.
And it's not even like he was like, it sounds like The Rock doing The Rock. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like he even tried to change his voice, like he wasn't trying to do a character or anything like that. He sounded like, or should I say, not The Rock as Dwayne Johnson, because The Rock is a character, but it was like, there was no masking it. Some of the Transformers, they kind of add those extra like robotic special effects to the voices, where it sounds a little more like echoey and stuff like that. Like that was just straight up Dwayne Johnson. But actually, I could segue that right into another nerdy story that came out this week. Have you heard the rumor? Now, I know we were going back and forth, and I know you had mentioned before that they were talking about The Rock playing the Jon Stewart, aka
Yes.
the Black Green Lantern.
Yes.
But more stuff has come to light where apparently he will be in a DC movie, but he will not be the Green Lantern. Have you heard this story?
I have not heard that story, no.
Oh, well, the story is is that, and I don't think it's been officially been released, but I mean, I've seen it. I've seen it from enough sources that it seems credible to me that he is going to be playing Black Adam, which for people, I don't know how deep they are in their knowledge of comic books. Black Adam is basically the main antagonist in the Shazam comic book. And when I was a kid, there was the Shazam cartoon. Shazam was basically from another company that was not. Shazam was a character that was basically from another company originally not owned by DC, and
Right.
They basically went bankrupt, and DC kind of bought out all their characters. Now, Shazam was at the time, and I'm talking about 40, 50 years ago. At that time, it was that company's it was their way of doing Superman. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they couldn't take Superman, so they had to make up their own character. So, here's
Right.
this guy that has incredible powers, and he can fly, and he's super duper strong, and he wears a cape, and all this other nonsense. So when DC bought, and I forgot the name of the original company that Shazam was part of, they kind of brought him in, and Shazam never really got the kind of love that he deserves, and
Well,
until
now it seems like now they're trying to push him a lot.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now they're pushing him because he was in the Justice League War movie. He was his character and the Black Adam character were parts of the 52, that series that they ran for a year, where there was like an issue out each week for 52 weeks. Anyone who plays a DC Universe online game. So Black Adam is basically he was Shazam before Shazam, and Shazam was a character where Billy Batson, this little boy, I forgot exactly what he gets. I don't know if he gets the powers. I don't know if he gets a ring or something like that. Or he kind of gets some sort of token, some thing, and when he says Shazam, because Shazam is supposed to be a magic word, he kind of like a lightning bolt hits him, and then he turns into this Superman-like character. And the whole gist of that character, I mean, I know they're kind of reinventing him with the New 52, but the point was, what happens if you took a kid that's generally pure of heart and gave him the body of a superhero? Because that's what Shazam is.
He's definitely different than that now, but yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, they've tried to make him a little more gritty and grimy. But I mean, the original hint behind that was that he was going, that it's what if you took a kid that's pure of heart and gave him all the superhero powers, because obviously all these comic books kind of cater to kids at that time, when Shazam was out. So it's kind of like, hey kids, you can be Superman if you're Shazam. So Black Adam was a character that basically had the power before Billy Batson got it, and his name was Tet Adam or something to that effect. He was from the Middle East. And so back to the Dwayne The Rock Johnson, there's been tons of speculation that he is going to be Black Adam in the Shazam movie. which is also part of the segueing into another story, that it's been kind of like officially yet unofficially released all the DC movies that will be coming out in the next 4 to 5 years. So you ready for this, Paul?
Yeah, I'm ready for this.
Okay. Okay. So like I said, so we had they haven't even announced who's going to play fucking, Shazam, but The Rock as Black Adam, I mean, he looks like Black Adam. I mean, I think that's incredible casting. Okay, so according to the list that's been being released over the next 4 years, in May of 2016, it is going to be Batman v Superman.
Yep.
Or whatever the hell they're deciding to call it nowadays.
Whatever, yeah.
So that's May of 2016. So starting, that's going to be one of those movies, the very beginning, blockbuster, one of the first blockbusters of the year. And then as of July, when you got the whole 4th of July weekend, or they haven't given an actual date, but July of 2016, the Shazam movie. So, okay, now they're giving Shazam kind of his day in the sun. And the Christmas of 2016, a Sandman movie. Now, once again, Sandman, it was always kind of been like, it's not really it's a comic book, but it's not a traditional comic book. I guess it'd be a better way. It's always had like.
It's kind of weird because there's two different Sandmans, because there's one in the Marvel universe and there's one.
Oh, in the DC. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I forgot. Yeah. It didn't click that. Yeah. The Spider-Man, that Spider-Man Sandman. Sandman, it's kind of a funky psychedelic, you got to trip and take acid to really understand what the hell's going on in Sandman. I never really followed Sandman, so but I mean, just the fact that they're being brave enough to kind of give such an unusual property its own movie, I think it's pretty awesome. Okay, so now, boom, the big one that we're all screaming and waiting and hoping to see, Justice League, May 2017. So still 3 years away. I'm assuming it's still going to be.
I think they said they were shooting Batman v Superman and Justice League
back to back.
So that's why that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of, I guess, the one that's going to be like their. They put out these other couple movies, and then I think once they put out the Justice League movie, it's going to be they've thrown their cock out and laid it on the table.
Well, I'm glad that they're actually defining. Okay, we have a Justice League movie. This is going to be Justice League, and then we have Batman versus Superman. I just hope, like I said to you before, I just hope that we don't see like 50 superheroes in this Batman versus Superman movie,
Well, I think that's why they're doing like the Shazam and Sandman, because even though, okay, Shazam and Sandman are not gigantic properties, that doesn't mean you won't see an Aquaman or you won't see.
Well, they did announce
Flash.
Aquaman too, actually.
Yeah, and it's they've announced, and there's been rumors for months and months and months, and I guess it's finally been confirmed that it's going to be Jason Momoa from Game of Thrones, which I guess if you want to, that will kind of segue into the next story. I was kind of saving that up for the end to segue into Game of Thrones.
Well, I got a couple things we can talk about, and we'll talk about Game of Thrones at the end if you want. We could do that.
All right, well, hold on, we still got 3 more movies to talk about.
Oh, talk about the 3 other movies.
Okay, and this one is the one I'm most excited about. If that sounds, I mean, obviously Justice League is like my big one, but and it's such a weird. Okay, they're doing Justice League in May of 2017. In July of 2017, the Wonder Woman movie. People have been asking for this for years. It's obviously, if they're going to put out a Wonder Woman movie just 3 or 4 months after Justice League, obviously she's going to have, a much bigger role. She's going to have, it's probably, we're probably going to see the very beginning seeds of whatever her movie's going to be, in a Justice League. I'm super excited. I'm hoping, they don't fuck it up. So we'll have a Justice League movie and Wonder Woman movie in the same year, and then come Christmas time, giving two guys a movie, before we had Batman versus Superman. Then we're doing Christmas of 2017 a Flash and Green Lantern team up movie. So unfortunately, Green Lantern just has that Ryan Reynolds stink on it, so we don't know what the hell they're going to do with that. But we'll
find out.
Teaming up with the Flash, and then of course with the Flash TV show is going to give people a little more more, insight on the character, even though the movie's probably gonna have nothing to do with the TV show. But it's nice to see these guys that aren't usually headliners kind of getting their own. It's kind of funny that they had to stick them in a movie together, because I don't know, it's kind of hard to sell just the Flash movie, and after Ryan Reynolds, it's going to be hard to sell a Green Lantern movie. So like, fuck it, we'll put them together. And then May of 2018, I guess once again kicking off the summer of 2018, 4 years from now, Man of Steel 2. So, and I think by the time we have all these other movies, we can finally give Superman his own movie again, because Batman versus Superman it's not going to be Man of Steel 2. Batman versus Superman is going to be its own,
which is good.
Monster. Yeah, exactly. So they don't have to fucking shoehorn all the Superman bullshit.
Right, exactly.
Not that Superman is bullshit, but I mean, after seeing the Man of Steel 1, I was kind of like, so kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. So all right, so that's we're all lined up. We're all caught up right now with all the DC movies.
Well, if I can talk about some geeky stuff, and there's some new, some other things that besides the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing I want to talk about, but we'll start out with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I believe it is as of today. No, actually yesterday. My apologies. June 17th, it's not yesterday. We're recording at like 1 o'clock in the morning. June 17th, they announced that Season 4, there is going to be a Season 4 of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because it's doing so well.
Awesome.
It's one of the, it is one of the top 5 television animated series right now, and that's why they are renewing it again, which is good because I'd like to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles become huge. And we're getting I think we're almost to 100 actually, which is good. So, and if it gets to 100, obviously that means syndication, and I actually like this version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And you know what? I wouldn't mind if it was on Toonami. I don't know. I don't know if Jason would ever do that, but I would hope so because I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And if just putting those two together, paradise. Anyways, there's the one notable thing that I see in this press release, and I guess this is kind of like a press release, is that Seth Green is taking over the voice of Leonardo, which is interesting because, I'm kind of confused at why they may have changed the character. So I'm probably going to look into that and see why that is, and I'm sure Sketch can tell me why because he is the turtle expert. But that's one of the most interesting things about this, and it looks like the whole cast is returning, so it's looking good. Couple other things that happened this week, or that happened the last 2 weeks that we've been off. And this one actually just happened a couple days ago. Those of you that are Powerpuff Girls fans.
Oh, yeah.
It's coming back in 2016. It's going to have a new TV series on Cartoon Network. And really, there's not that much information right now. They're saying that they don't know what the animation's going to look like. Mm-hmm. It could be that new short that they had of the Powerpuff Girls that they recently had on Cartoon Network, or it could be closer to what the original Powerpuff Girls was. So when we get more information about that, we'll let you know here, and we'll let you know on the Toonami Faithful podcast, obviously. One thing it's just interesting to see that Cartoon Network is doing that, because that could mean that they're trying to start going back in the direction of action cartoons, and I hope they do try to do that, because that's where I got all my action cartoons, basically. I mean, Thundercats, the new Thundercats started there. The Star Wars, the Clone Wars started there.
Both versions.
Yeah, both versions. So I mean, I'd like to see some action cartoons again, which I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but hopefully it does. And then this is a piece of news that unless you're like sleeping or you just don't care. And I have a little funny story about this too. Dragon Ball Z Battle of the Gods, which is huge overseas, has been licensed by Funimation, and it will be out in theaters at the beginning of August. There's information at ToonamiFaithful.com, so if you guys want to look that up, you can. But basically, the one thing I want to note is that it's interesting to see that Funimation was able to get Battle of the Gods and not have to go through 20th Century Fox, because the biggest worry that a lot of people don't understand is 20th Century Fox, or let's say Warner Brothers, for example, they can even though it could be, it's like two different things sometimes, because, one's overseas, one's here in the United States. It's generally basically if Warner Brothers does a movie here, it's going to translate to the Warner Brothers over there, and they're going to have the same thing. So, the thought was generally, because 20th Century Fox actually put out in theaters there Battle of the Gods. So it was thought that when it came over to the States, that it was going to be, brought by 20th Century Fox. And, a lot of people were up in the air saying, okay, well, they better bring back the original cast, voice actors and actresses, and, have them as part of this movie, and which meant they would have to go through Funimation. It was kind of funny because when I was at MomoCon, I was explaining this to somebody that was a fan of the podcast, and Justin Rojas, who is the head marketing person at Funimation, turns around because he's at the Toonami party and says, "No, continue saying what you were saying." And he said to me, he's like, "Well, you're basically right in some of the facts, but the voice actors and actresses are not, they could go and do it anyways." And 2 weeks later, ironically, Funimation announces that they have it, and I'm like, "You son of a bitch!" Like, you son of a bitch! You knew that you had it, and you didn't say anything to me. So, and it's a good thing he didn't, because of that secret, I probably would not have been able to keep inside of me. But yeah, I'm really excited for it. It's kind of funny because I actually got an invite to the LA premiere of it, but, well, I'm here in Rochester, New York, and it's all the way over on the West Coast. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to probably be able to go, but, I'm super excited to see it. I hope it's in a theater here in Rochester. And again, I do want to see this movie, and I'm probably going to get a screener at some point when it does come out on Blu-ray, but I'm super excited. I'm really looking forward to this movie, and I'm hoping to bring that to you guys when I do get a copy, or if I can see it in the movie theater. So I just wanted to put
when people ask you about Dragon Ball Z.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's the reason why I'm talking about a lot more on this podcast, because Jim kind of was like, "Well, I'm sure there's a Dragon Ball podcast or Dragon Ball Z podcast that could talk about," and I'm just sitting there going, "Yes, Jim, we know you don't like Dragon Ball Z." So, I'm very excited about Battle of the Gods, and I can't wait for it. I can't wait to see it. It looks like it's just incredible. So, and I hope this means that we'll see more Dragon Ball content coming out, because I think people are still interested in it, and it would be, if Funimation's smart, if overseas is smart, they'll bring out more stuff. So
awesome.
Which leads us into Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Well, because you don't watch Game of Thrones, right? So
I don't. No. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
That's on HBO, right? Isn't it?
It's on HBO. It was the end of season 4. So, like, if you were to watch it, you got like friggin' like 40. I believe it's like 10 episodes a season.
Oh,
if you decided to wake up tomorrow and say, "Okay, I'm gonna start watching it," you got like at least 40 hours of work ahead of you. But it's been really good this season. I've kind of I've talked about Game of Thrones before or whatever. The season finale was this past Sunday, and I guess without giving, I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but all I have to say is that, because one part of the show is that it's kind of like, it's kind of medieval fantasy, and there's knights, and it's a lot of royalty stuff. There's not really wizards. There is kind of magic on the show, but they don't really, it's not like a big, the magic isn't a huge part of it, except for the fact that, like, there's zombies. That's kind of weird. And there's giants, and there's and obviously the one that everyone's seen.
Wait, are we talking about Attack on Titan? Oh, I thought you were talking about that. I'm sorry.
And there's also dragons. Like, the dragons are like, and it's funny how as the show progressed. There's like in one season you see these dragons, and they're literally, they're the size of like a dog or a cat. then you go another, and as the season progressed, now they're kind of like, the size of a small horse, and now, now they're at the point where they're like freaking, they're fucking, so there's nothing really to compare to, I guess, fucking pterodactyl or whatever, now they're fucking huge. And, but without really spoiling too much, this past episode, they had skeletons, dead coming to life skeletons. And the only other time that really, it reminds me of, Army of the Dead, or, if you want to go back to the old school, Jason and the Argonauts and all those movies. But holy shit, they got the formula right. Because when you watch Army of the Dead, obviously that was kind of like a low budget movie, and they look cheesy and they look like stop animation. And then of course, that movie is kind of mixed with stop animation and like puppetry. These are like CGI skeletons, but just because they're skeletons, incredible motion capture. These are like the bodies of like dead soldiers or whatever the case may be. So it looks, these guys run at full speed and they're swinging swords and shields and it just, I have to like, I've never seen skeletons look so realistic and creepy and, realistic, I guess, real skeletons don't get up and fucking run at full speed with a sword, but it was fucking
at
pretty,
least that you know of.
at least, yeah. But it looks pretty, that's the one thing, and it's only like in this last episode of the season, there's no, like I said, there's zombies in the other parts, but now like these are like skeletons and they looked, and of course the dragons on the show, the special effects are fucking top notch. It's obviously I've never seen a dragon in real life, but these things are photorealistic, or to the point where, like, I guess if there were dragons, I'm pretty sure they would look as cool as they do on Game of Thrones. So I just wanted to kind of just mention that real quick. Other nerd news, Vincent D'Onofrio, I guess mostly known from Law and Order. I don't know which Law and Order. I want to say Criminal Intent. He was also in that Jennifer Lopez movie, The Cell. For fans of the movie Full Metal Jacket, he was the guy that played Private Pyle, the fat soldier that ended up fucking killing himself. Spoiler alert. Well, if you haven't seen Full Metal Jacket, you're not a
Jesus Christ, you motherfucker. Why are you got to give spoiler alerts?
And so Vincent D'Onofrio has been announced to be the Kingpin in the upcoming Daredevil series.
Yes.
And I know you're happy because it's not a black eye. Because you're
all right. Listen. Okay,
I was just busting its chops, man.
You need to understand something here, okay? Like, when it comes to comic books, man, like, I am one of those nerds that's like, look, if the guy is white, don't change him black to be politically correct is the word I want to use. The words that I want to use, because it seems like these Marvel and DC movies like tend to try to, like, I haven't really seen it in a DC movie, I'll take that back, but like in Marvel, for example, it seemed like they were trying to be like diverse. Mm-hmm. And I understand that you're trying to be diverse, but Kingpin is a white guy. No offense to Michael Clark Duncan, God rest his soul, but
I think he pulled it off. Where
no, he did pull it off.
Supposed to be, a physically intimidating guy. Of course, the character is more fat than anything, but
well, that's the thing. Like, it wasn't like he didn't pull it off. I was just turned off by the fact that here's this Kingpin is supposed to be white, and you're showing me this black guy.
Yeah.
And then I think it came out at the time when Daredevil came out that they were doing it to be politically correct, and I'm like, why? Like, I understand why, Michael Clark Duncan is a great actor, that's great, but why are you trying to be politically correct? This is a superhero movie.
Yeah, right.
Just stop, so.
But I am very excited about Vincent D'Onofrio because he has a fucking intensity about him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he looks like a fucking psycho. If you watch, Full Metal Jacket, or even a movie like The Cell, which was more all of his scenes were like in the dream world, the fantasy world, or whatever, when Jennifer Lopez was, visiting person's dreams or whatever. He's a scary motherfucker. He could play scary. And then even part of his whole demeanor, even though I'm not a big fan of shows like Law and Order, the episodes that I watched with him, you know, like he's the kind of guy, like he like intimidated the criminals, like, you know, he'd scare the shit out of them and they'd, you know, give him a confession. So to see him kind of, you know, even when he was a good guy, he was a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think it's excellent casting. I think it's a great idea that they got him. I'm so excited, and I'm looking forward to watching, you know, Daredevil when it comes out on Netflix. Which real quick, I just also I've watched episodes of Turbo Fast on Netflix, and holy shit, they're good. From our buddies over there at Titmouse. Okay, nerdy news, more nerdy news. Harrison Ford I'm getting conflicting stories. Basically, he was fucking, something fell on him. I want to say it was a door or something like that. They were filming episode 7, and it's like, how fucked it would have been if like Harrison Ford got killed filming episode 7. Yeah, right. These guys are getting old, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you know, I love Harrison Ford and I want him to be in these movies, but you know, he's got to live. he's got to make it the next couple years. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it to be like a CGI Han Solo, you know? I mean, yeah, you know, they can CGI all the aliens, but you know, I want a legitimate Han Solo.
Isn't it like under the impression that these original actors are only going to be in this film or something? Or are they supposed to be in like this whole new trilogy?
I hope they're in more. I hope they're at least like.
I mean, it makes more sense. Like I guess like for me, like Luke Skywalker makes more sense that he's in all 3 of them, just because like he's probably the one in charge of the Jedi Order.
Mm. Well, my thing is that, I mean, because you know, I mean, without getting too nerdy about it, I mean, you know, they did mention that Leia has the Force in her also. And then, you know, I mean...
Well, I mean...
Movies. I'm not talking about...
Are they talking about in the new movie, or are they talking about in general?
Well, I'm just saying, remember, in the movies, they kind of like, you know, that's their twin brother, twin sister, I mean...
Right, but you have to understand, too, that, you know, there's been a lot of off-universe books about Leia actually becoming, like, kind of a Jedi, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that, like, that... I mean, of course, even though it's not canon because it's only happened in the books that Leia and Han Solo get married, but I think they were kind of by the time we get to the end of episode 6, I mean, we kind of knew that they're eventually going to end up together. So, I mean, I think, and don't get me wrong, they may not be the main characters, or you know, like Harrison Ford and the woman that plays Princess Leia, they may not be the main characters, but I think they're going to be supporting characters. Like, you know, they may not be on screen all the time, but I mean, I think they're going to be on screen, you know, more than half the time, you know, just because it's all part of, you know, Luke reestablishing himself or 30 years in the future, you know, and how, you know, whatever new problems have arisen or whatever. I don't know. I'm kind of, I don't know. Or how, you know, how fucked up would it be if they killed off Han Solo, you know?
I mean, at this point, we don't know, but I'm sure that they're going to make, you know, the appropriate thing.
Yeah, like no more stunts, no anything. It's going to be Han Solo sitting in like a Barca lounger, and the chair from WALL-E, you know,
right?
It levitates throughout the room, so he doesn't have to move. Which means, you know, also like, I mean, if there should, you know, you know, that means we're going to see an old Chewie. We're going to see like a gray Chewie. That's going to be funny. Okay, so I just wanted to bring that up.
Give me my cane.
You shit on the paper. Let me see. World Cup. I don't give a fuck about the World Cup. I just had that in my notes. I put that in my notes just specifically for me to say I don't give a fuck about the World Cup.
Oh God. You're going.
And then also, I just wanted to bring this up. Disney is doing a show called The Descendants. And it is a show about the kids of the bad guys from the Disney universe, and also the kids from the good guys in the universe also, where it's like the kids of Maleficent, the kids of Jafar from Aladdin, and Cruella de Vil, because what happened was in this world or whatever, they took the bad guys and they banned them to this island, to an island. And so what happens is, you know, the villains went to go, you know, live whatever, you know, kind of like, you know, excommunicated from the rest of the world. But they eventually had kids, and it was sort of like, and I want to say it's like the kid of Belle and, you know, from Beauty and the Beast, like the kids, like Belle, you know, the Beauty and the Beast kids, kind of like, I think one of them becomes the king or a queen or whatever, and they make a declaration. They were like, look, you know, we can't blame the kids for the problems that their parents fought. So they kind of like decide to let the kids leave the island and come and join like society. So it's like the kids of Maleficent, Jafar, Cruella de Vil. So it's kind of like a next generation of Disney in a weird way, you know, even though without like, you know, it's not like these big epic movies, but I just think it's an interesting premise. And, you know, and if, you know, one of my favorite movies in the past like couple of years has been Sky High. When Disney kind of tried to do a superhero movie. And I loved it. You know, I'm saying one of the main characters was a character that was, you know, his name was War and Peace, where, you know, his mother and father were, one of them was a hero and one of them was a villain, you know. So, you know, I kind of like the idea of like having these kids, and then, you know, who knows, you know, obviously I guess the gist is, you know, maybe some of them are evil because their parents are evil, and some of them, you know, just have bad parents and you're trying to do good things and stuff like that. So it's called Disney's Descendants and just looks interesting, sounds interesting. That's about it. I can't think of anything else for the show. I mean, I kind of got a, I'm not going to spoil it because people would kill me if it was true. You know, they kind of revealed who's going to be in the post credits of Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's no one that's been even mentioned in a Marvel hero movie. I guess that's the most I'll say without really spoiling it, but it's a whole new character that hasn't been addressed. But who has been kind of active in recent years in the comics, you know, kind of sharing the spotlight with other top listers. So
way to go to tease people. What the fuck?
Well, then again, I mean, a couple of years ago, no one really gave a shit about Iron Man, and now he's like hot property. So, I mean, you know,
Sure.
with this character, I mean, maybe being in the movies or whatever will shift him into the spotlight. So I'll leave that, or her, excuse me, shift him or her into the spotlight. And with that being said, I guess we'd like to remind our audience that you could visit us at 2s1p.com. You'll find all things show related. You can find us on iTunes, and on 2s1p.com you can find the links to our iTunes. Or if you go to the iStore and just click the upper right tab for podcasts, search for Two Strangers One Podcast, you'll see our beautiful red, white, and blue logo. You can subscribe and get all the new episodes or download old episodes from over 2 years ago to your iPhone, iPad, iPod. If you don't have an iPhone, iPad, iPod, and you have an Android device, you can download the Stitcher app. That's STITCHER. And any podcast worth listening to, Mark Maron's, you know, WTF Podcast, Adam Carolla, This American Life, Chris Hardwick's The Nerdist, Kevin Smith's Modcast, and of course the Tsunami Faithful Podcast are available on the Stitcher app. And the cool thing now is that, you know, even if you don't want to use your data while you're on your phone and you're far away, if you're in a Wi-Fi spot, like if you're at home or if you stop by a McDonald's or a Starbucks and you happen to be into a Wi-Fi spot, you could download the episodes onto your phone, and it only downloads the most recent 6 episodes. You don't have to, you know, you're not really killing yourself with the data and all this other nonsense. And
you need to listen to every fucking episode we do.
you can, but you know, if you don't want to waste your data, you could download them when you're at a place that does have Wi-Fi and get all your episodes and listen to them while you're out and about. If you're driving a car, if you're at work and you're supposed to be doing other things and you're goofing off listening to your phone, you can do that. You can be listening to us right now when you should be working. How awesome does that sound? Let me see. You can find us on Twitter at Stranger Podcast, that little @ symbol, Stranger Podcast. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Two Strangers One Podcast, all spelled out. That's pretty much like our most active venue. I mean, when new episodes go out, I'm not really too active on the page, but you know, if you ever, you know, everyone and their grandmother has a fucking Facebook page. So if that's how you want to reach us, and also, you know, we, of course, you know, we like getting new listeners. We love getting feedback from people. And you know, if you want to support the show, you say, oh, you guys are funny and this and this and that, and we want to help spread the word. It just takes 2 seconds to share us on Facebook. You know, just if you like this particular episode, if you want to share the whole page, I would prefer you actually share an episode just to kind of give people an idea of what's going on, so they can hear us talk about how we can't get laid, or how we can't get laid recently, I guess would be a better way to put it.
Recently, yes.
And so, and then also, I mean, I guess if you want to write to us in a long form way or whatever the case may be,
tell us love letters and be like,
yeah,
dear Paul and Chris, I love you so much. I just want to make out with both of you. I mean, that's fine with me, but just don't be a guy.
You can be a guy, just don't be an ugly guy.
Oh, here we go again.
I'm hard up, people. No,
Gay Chris is back.
He never left, baby.
Jesus Christ.
No, but you can reach us at Two Strangers One Podcast, all spelled out, at gmail.com. So if you have, if you have a file or something like that, or if something you want to share with the show, you want to contact us. You have a Kickstarter you want to promote. If you want to talk about anything, you have an idea of something you want us to talk about. If you want to, hey, I got Skype and I want to come on the show also.
Come on the show.
So let me see. Hey, so once again, we're here from our buddy Oscar. What do you say? We expect shows. We lost episode or something. It's been nearly 2 weeks.
That was not my fault. That was Chris's fault.
Yeah. So it's just because so from Oscar telling us to get back to work. So Oscar, hopefully when you hear this episode, we got your email. He said,
by the way, Oscar, I have a couple of associates that will be coming to your door. You might want to make some spaghetti, and you might have to have some Italian bread because they may break your fucking face if you don't.
No, we love our listeners. And
nothing.
Gotcha. So I guess that's it for me for what I have to say. I acquiesce the floor to you, sir.
Well, you can find me at Paul Pascrillo on Twitter. My last name is spelled Pescrillo. You can also find me on Tumblr. It's paulpascrillo.tumblr.com. I do put some things on there. Lately it's been sappy. I apologize, but I'm going through some things and whatnot, whatever. Hopefully it'll get better and I'll be writing, I'm in love again, or whatever. I don't know. Who the fuck knows anymore? But anyways, you can also, I have what's called an ask.fm. It's ask.fm/Paul Pascrillo. Ask me questions. Beware, if you ask me shitty questions, I will give you an interesting answer. So, or I may not answer you at all. So make sure you ask me questions there. And I also just wanted to say, you had mentioned Sketch. Sketch is now the host of the Toonami Faithful podcast. We recently lost Jose to CNN, which is not a bad thing, might I add. Hey, I can say that I helped get a guy to CNN. What do you want me to do here?
Oh, okay.
That's not a bad thing, dude. Not at all. But that means that I will be more active with the Toonami Faithful podcast this time. So, I'm a co-host there and I'm a co-host here. So you can hear double time here, I guess. So, make sure that you guys listen to the Toonami Faithful podcast and also listen to us every week because we're going to try to do it every week as much as possible. But, life sucks and it gets in the way. So one more piece of advice I have before we get out of here. Just realize that sometimes life sucks. And, the best thing that you can do, I guess the best advice that I can give is you can only live life one day at a time. Don't try to live the future. Don't try to live what happened in the past. Only live within the present. You can only live one day at a time, and that's the way that you got to live life. So that's it.
Okay. And if you if you're having sex, right, and at the moment you come, if you scream no baby, no baby, no baby, you won't have a baby. I'm just little advice. If you
oh my god, I fucking hate you. I say something good and then go and you fuck that shit.
I'm just saying is that if at the moment of ejaculation, and it only works for guys. Sorry, ladies. I mean, the girls can scream it all they want, but it ain't going to help guys. If you don't want to have a kid, now this isn't going to stop you from getting diseases. I'm just telling you that right now, so make sure the girl's clean. But if you don't want her to get pregnant while you're coming, you have to scream, no baby, no baby, no baby.
Oh, my God.
You won't get her pregnant.
The views of Chris Cologne and not the views of Paul Pascrillo.
Yeah, and don't blame me if you get her pregnant.
Oh, my God. Let's get out of here.
I'm not paying that child support. All right, so once again, we certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We out, bitches.
Bye.
Don't be fapping. You might get somebody pregnant.
No baby, no baby, no baby.
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But
his Twitter address is @ComicMetalGames. His website is doublejackpot.us. What's US? Is that a new appellation that we're allowed? Really?
I don't know.
Start rocking that. That's very patriotic. Smodcast.us. For us.
Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I got to meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea, man.
Is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. It's just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read.
It can be purchased at www.doublejackpot.us. Please stress that it's US, not .com. I was too broke to get .com. Okay, so .us apparently, according to Chris, is a cheaper alternative to .com.
I don't know if you were meant to read that aloud, were you?
Is that a secret code? He's like, help me, I'm broke.
This book is part of the Comic Books Heavy Metal Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
Doublejackpot.us, man. There are links to the Twitter account for updates on Book 2, and there's a link to his eBay account. He's selling his own comics, video games, and heavy metal paraphernalia to fund the next ad on Smodcast.com. Oh, my God. Look at that. He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin, that's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. I want to run it past him, man. And if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15, and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at doublejackpot.us. www.doublejackpot.us, man. Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudity in it, and you could show them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne right now.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to visit 2s1p.com where you can find links for everything, including how to subscribe to us on iTunes, how to buy my book, Double Jackpot, where to find us if you have an Android device, eBay links, and everything else show related. That's 2s1p.com.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double
it?
Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne smells good to me.
But
Look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled Colon.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Look at her, fucking. She's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. Sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. I want to, and if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know. You're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudity in it, and you could saw them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.